everyone. This is Salma from Dot Education. We are going to discuss about the investment ratios. So basically, we have 3D. We memorize it with the formula D3P. Your DP earns. So there are three formulas which is starting with D, one with P, and earns. Okay, let's talk about the E. Earning per share. How much money do you earn per share? So whatever profit that you have for the year, when you divide it by the number of shares that you have issued, number of ordinary shares that you have issued, you will get your earning per share. So the formula for earning per share is profit over the number of shares that is issued. Okay, once you get this earning per share, you will find your price earning ratio. That means your market price per share, when you divide it with the earning per share, you will get your price earning ratio. Now, your three dividend ratios. Your three dividend ratio is dividend per share, dividend cover, and dividend yield ratio. When I talk about dividend yield ratio, it is found out with the formula annual ordinary dividend, the dividend that is there per share divided by the market price of the share. You're going to get your dividend yield ratio. Dividend cover ratio is found by using the formula profit that is available to pay ordinary dividend upon your annual ordinary dividend, you will get the dividend cover ratio. And dividend per share, your annual ordinary dividend, that is your interim dividend plus your final dividend, divided by the number of shares that you have issued, you're going to get your dividend per share. So your investment ratios is your earning per share, price earning ratio, dividend per share, dividend yield ratio, and dividend cover ratio. Try to recall how do you get your earning per share? What is the formula for getting the earning per share? Think over it. How will you know what is the money that you have earned per share? So, whatever is the profit for the year, when you divide it by the number of shares, you will get your earning per share. Okay, let's talk about your dividend per share. What is the dividend per share? My shareholders are actually concerned about the amount of dividend that they are going to receive per share. So the money that they are going to receive back from the share is the dividend per share. Dividend is always expressed as cents per share. How do you find out the dividend per share? You find out your dividend per share by using the formula annual ordinary dividend. The amount of dividend. What is annual ordinary dividend? It is your interim dividend. In that, you will add your final dividend. You will get your annual ordinary dividend. When you divide the annual ordinary dividend with the number of shares that you have actually issued in the market, you are going to get the dividends which is expressed in cents per share. So dividend per share is found out using the formula annual ordinary dividend. It is your interim dividend plus your final dividend that you will divide it by the number of shares issued. You will get your dividend per share. Ordinary dividend is both your dividends added together, your interim dividend that you have actually paid, and the final dividend that you have proposed to pay. When you add both of this, you will get your annual ordinary dividend. The larger the dividend, the better. What does annual ordinary dividend represent? It represents the dividend that is relating to the year, and this amount will never appear in your statement of changes in equity. Can you tell me why this amount will never appear in your statement of changes in equity? Because in your SOCE, you will record dividend on paid basis. Interim dividend of the current year, interim dividend of the current year, and proposed or final dividend of the last year. Can you tell me again the formula for dividend per share? It is annual ordinary dividend. You can write it along with me. Annual ordinary dividend divided by the number of shares that you have issued. Okay, my shareholders at every point of time, they will be interested to know what? They will be interested to know how much money they are getting. But they will be interested to know the money that they are getting when it is compared to the money that is tied up. Now, if you see over here, there is two companies. I have two companies, company A and company B. The dividend per share of company A is 0.10 and the dividend per share for company B is 0.05. So you would say company A is better because the dividend per share is 0.10, it is more. The shareholders are never interested in this part. Why they are not interested in this part? Because they want to see how much they are getting when it is compared to what they pay. Compared to what they pay. So when I see company A, the shareholders are paying $5 per share to get a dividend of 0.10. But the shareholders of company B are paying only $1.25 to get a dividend of 0.05. If they buy two shares or they invest 2.50, they will get 0.10. So can you tell me which company is giving a better dividend? Company B is giving a better dividend. So the shareholders will never be interested to know the dividend per share. They will be interested to know the dividend when compared to what they are paying. So we come to know how much money is tied up to get this dividend when we see the market price. And for this reason, we do not use the dividend per share, we use the dividend yield ratio. So what does my dividend yield ratio tell me? My dividend yield ratio will tell me the return that my shareholders are actually getting when it is compared to the market price of the share. So how do you get the dividend yield ratio? Annual ordinary dividend divided by the market price of the share into 100. The shareholders are always interested to know the dividend yield ratio, where they want to know the money that they are getting or where they want to know the dividend they are getting when it is compared to the market price. What does the dividend per share tell you? Dividend per share will only tell you the dividend that you are getting. Dividend that you are getting. But it will not compare the dividend when it is in terms of the money invested. So the shareholders will want to know the dividend yield ratio where they see the returns in comparison to the market price of the share. So the dividend yield ratio is annual ordinary dividend divided by the market price of the share into 100, and dividend per share is annual ordinary dividend divided by the number of shares that you have issued. Okay, clearly In both the cases, the larger figure is better, but the dividend yield ratio will help me make a better decision to know that what is my return when I am comparing it to the market price. So investors compare the dividend yield ratio with the returns that is available from other investments, and accordingly they decide if they want to invest in the share or they want to deposit the money in the bank. Please remember, dividend per share is always as expressed as cents per share, but the dividend yield ratio is expressed as a percentage of return that you are getting based on the money that you are investing in the market. You compare your dividend yield ratio with the returns that you get from other investments. Okay, with the returns that you get from other investments, and then you decide whether I want to invest the money in the company or not. So we did two dividend ratios. One was dividend per share, the other was dividend yield ratio. The formula for dividend per share is annual ordinary dividend divided by the number of ordinary shares issued. Formula for dividend yield ratio is annual ordinary dividend divided by the market price per share into 100. Annual ordinary dividend, how do you get? You get the annual ordinary dividend by adding the interim dividend that you have already paid plus the final proposed dividend. Now the next ratio that you have, dividend cover ratio. Dividend cover ratio shows the number of times your profit covers the dividend that is actually being paid. So how do you find the dividend cover ratio? The profit that is available to pay your ordinary dividend, that you will divide it by the annual ordinary dividend. You will come to know that your profit can pay dividend X, Y, Z number of times. Your profit can pay dividend 5 times, or you can pay dividend 10 times out of your profit. The higher, the better. If you have a low dividend cover, it means you have poor profits. Low profits mean that you have little or you have no dividend. Deciding whether a figure is good or not will depend upon the context. Low dividend cover indicates poor profit. A low profit will almost result in little or no dividend that is being paid. However, the directors have to decide whether they are going to give a generous dividend or they are going to give a low dividend. Shareholders will examine the previous financial statements to determine whether our directors are giving us a generous, a good amount of dividend or they are giving a less dividend. Please remember, less dividend is not bad. It means that the directors are looking for expansion or they are looking to do something which may increase the profits in the future years. So what are the investment ratios that we have learned? Earning per share. Profit upon the number of shares that you have issued. Dividend per share. Annual ordinary dividend upon number of shares issued. Dividend yield ratio. Annual ordinary dividend upon the market price per share into 100. And dividend cover ratio. Profit can cover dividend how many number of times? So profit that is available to pay ordinary dividend upon the annual ordinary dividend. This will be the annual ordinary dividend that is in total. Now price earning ratio. You get it? Price. So which price you're going to take? You're going to take the market price divided by the earnings per share. So what does the price earning ratio tell us? The price earning ratio tells me how confident the investors are in the future performance of the company. When the shareholders have more confidence in my company's future performance, the shares will be more desirable. They will be traded at a higher market price, so the market price will be higher. Okay? Larger price earning ratio is better. What does the price earning ratio calculate? The price earning ratio calculates how much market price is being paid for the shares when compared to the earning price per share. The price earning ratio calculates how much market price is being paid per share when you compare it with the earnings per share, and it is in times. Okay, so we have done all the investment ratios. You can pause the video and write all the 5 investment ratios and see how much do you remember for your investment ratios. Well, let us look at the sum where you have to calculate your investment ratios. So you will always calculate it in this order. It will be EPD, earning per share. Can you tell me what is the formula for earning per share? Earning per share. So the formula for earning per share is profit for the year divided by the number of shares that you have issued. Number of shares that you have issued. So when I talk about Grain Straw Limited, what is the profit for the year? Profit for the year is 450, and for Folks, the profit for the year is 310. This is divided by the number of shares that you have issued. So let's see what is the number of shares that I have issued. The ordinary shares have a face value of 0.50 each. So the share capital divided by the face value will give you the number of shares. So for Brain Straw Limited, 600 divided by 0.50, we have issued 1,200 shares. Okay? And for Folks Limited, it will be 500 divided by 0.50. So you're going to have issued 1,000 shares. So the earning per share for Brain Straw Limited is 0.375 per share. And for Folks Limited, it is $0.155 per share. Now let's talk about the price earning ratio. What is the formula for price earning ratio? The formula for price earning ratio is market price per share divided by the earning per share. What is the market price per share for Brainstorm? For Brainstorm, the market price per share is 4. And I think it is for Folks Limited, the market price per share, because this was 0.25. And for Folks Limited, the market price per share is 2.10. So market price per share for Brainstorm is 4. How much is the market price? Is 4. And for Folks, it is 2.10. Divided by the earning per share, the earning per share for Brainstorm is 0.375, and for Folks, it is 0.155. So you will get your answer for the price earning ratio as 10.67 times. And for this, it will be 13.55 times. So I'll write the answer 10.67 times and 13.55 times. Are you with me? Okay. Now let's go. Now, the next ratio that we would take is the dividend per share. How do you know the dividend per share? Formula for dividend per share. It is annual ordinary dividend divided by the number of issued ordinary shares. So, the annual ordinary dividend, it is interim dividend plus final dividend. So for Brainstorm, the interim dividend is 120. It is in 3 zeros, so I will avoid the 3 zeros. And the final dividend is 180. But for folks, the interim dividend is 70 and final dividend is 130. So annual ordinary dividend divided by the number of issued ordinary shares. This we had found out over here. It is 1,200 shares for Brainstorm, and for folks, it is 2,000 shares. Okay, so your dividend per share would be 120 plus 180, that is 300 divided by 1,200. So you will get a dividend of 0.25 per share. And let's calculate for folk. It is 200 divided by 2,000. So you are going to get a dividend of 0.10 per share. Dividend per share. Now you calculate the dividend yield ratio. How do you calculate the dividend yield ratio? This is calculated as a percentage. So dividend yield ratio formula is annual ordinary dividend per share divided by market price per share. What is the annual ordinary dividend per share? It was 120 plus 180 for Bear Store, and for folks it was 70 plus 130. Annual ordinary dividend. Okay, and but I want the annual ordinary dividend per share. So I have already calculated dividend per share. It is 0.25 and 0.10 divided by the market price per share. So the market price per share is 4, and over here the market price per share is 2.10 into 100. So you will get your dividend yield ratio. So it is 0.25 divided by 4 into 100. So it is 6.25%. 6.25%. And for folks, it is 0.10 divided by 2.10 into 100. It is 4.76%. So that means the dividend of Brainstorm is giving a better yield, or the investment of Brainstorm is giving a better yield when compared to folks. Now let's go about dividend cover ratio. What is the formula for dividend cover ratio? It is profits that is available to pay ordinary dividend divided by annual ordinary dividend. Okay. So what is the profits that is available to pay ordinary dividend for dividend cover ratio? Profits that is available to pay ordinary dividend is 450 and for folks it is 310 divided by annual ordinary dividend. So it was 120 divided by 180, that is 300 over here, and it was 70 divided by 130, it's 200 over here. So dividend cover ratio over here it is 1.50 times, and it over here it is 1.55 times. That means profits can pay dividend 1.50 times over here, and it can pay dividend 1.55 times over here. Okay, so I have calculated all the investment ratios. Now I need to comment on the investment ratios. So let's comment on it. We have all the ratios clearly over here. So for earning per share, we are doing the earning per share and the dividend per share. The earning per share and the dividend per share, I think these figures are dividend per share, this is 0.25. So the earning per share and the dividend per share of both of these ratios seem to be very good. Earning per share is also more than folks, and the dividend per share is also more than folks. So both of these ratios seem to favor the Bear Store company. But you should remember that the market price of the share is very different. Okay, so the dividend per share is not a fair reflection of the return that you're actually getting, that the shareholders are actually getting. So for this, you need to see the earning per share only. You should see how much my directors are distributing and how much profits is available. So these both ratios look very favorable for Bear Stock, but you should actually compare it with the price earning ratio. That means the earnings that you're getting compared to the market price of the share, or you should see it with the dividend yield ratio. Okay, the price earning ratio is better for folks. Although earning per share and dividend per share is better for what? Earning per share and dividend per share is better for Bear Stock. Check. Dividend per share. This is better for Bear Stock. But what is better for folks? The price earning ratio is better for folks. Okay. The higher figure for Folks Limited of the price earning ratio suggests that the market is more confident about the future of Folks Limited, and it is much more when it is compared to Bear Stock. Okay, the dividend yield ratio. Let's see about the dividend yield ratio. The dividend yield ratio is higher for Bear Stock. If you see, the shareholders have enjoyed a better return on their investment. Although when it compares with the return available with alternative investment opportunities in the market is not known. I can only compare it with folks, the return that I am getting. But you also have to compare it with other investments to give a better opinion. Okay, the dividend cover ratio is better for folks. Okay, they almost have the same figure, which suggests that whatever dividend the share directors are giving, it is a generous dividend policy that is set by both the directors. Okay, so you need to comment properly. First, you will comment together with the earning per share and the dividend per share. Then you will say who has a better price earning ratio. The company which has a better price earning ratio, the shareholders are more confident about the future. Which company gives the better dividend yield? Which company gives the better dividend return to the shareholders? So this company gives a better dividend return. However, you cannot comment on it because you have to compare it with other investments. And both the companies are very generous. The dividend is covering profit is covering 1.5% of 1.5 times the dividend. So both the companies are really very generous. Now you will do the same thing for this activity. You will calculate the earning per share, price earning ratio, dividend per share, dividend yield, and dividend cover. Then you are going to comment on which company presents a better return for its shareholders. Pause the video for some time, calculate it, then you will check your answers from here. You will write the formulas, get an answer, check your answers from here, pause it again, and then you will comment on the ratios. You can check your answers about the comment over here. And just zoom in this a little so that you can check it. Thank you.